you. One of the most common questions I get from my viewers is that is anti-inflammatory diet restrictive? That's an excellent question. Yes, it could be. Very. That is, if you don't know the whole story and if you're missing the big link, the big piece of pie in this big picture. So in 2015, when I started my anti-inflammatory journey out of desperation, because, hey, if you just joined, that's awesome. It's good to see you. If you have any questions, just comment as they come up. If you have any questions or comments, so I can answer them for you. So in 2015, when I started my anti-inflammatory journey, that after much of search, I found this book called, let's see if I can do it right, The Autoimmune Solution by Amy Myers. This book was very helpful and became the founding ground for me to understand the connection between inflammation and your weight issues and my fat belly issue. As I was getting older, I was definitely gaining weight around my belly. And most importantly, my highly inflammatory problems, such as my chronic skin condition with rash and hives, and the scalp getting so red and flaky, and joint and muscle pains, especially knee pains and shoulder pains, and then ankle and lower back pains. And I had so much low energy, and that put me in bad mood. So that really affected my relationship with my husband. And the steroid medicine that I relied on for 3 decades at that juncture stopped working. Hey, if you just joined, that's awesome. Welcome. Thanks for taking the time joining me. We're talking about today if anti-inflammatory diet is restrictive. Short answer is yes, if you don't know the whole picture. The real answer is no, it doesn't have to be, because I've been living this way since 2015, and I'm getting to eat whatever I want to eat pretty much, and delicious foods. So back to the story. So the problem when steroids stopped working after 30 years, that this book really shined the light on that connection between inflammation and chronic inflammation and the chronic pain and skin problem in the body. So in 2015, when I started my journey, I read this whole book and I really highlighted it a lot because I was just so taken by it, that I was able to do something. All of a sudden, I was this helpless middle-aged woman that just sick and tired all the time and yelled at my husband for no reason, to like, okay, I could actually help myself. So I was empowered, but it was also daunting at the same time because the book talked about there are so many highly inflammatory food I have to remove, and I pondered on it, and it just seemed so restrictive, and I didn't know how I could do it. It seemed almost impossible. So if you have any questions, if you joined now, thanks for joining. So type in if you have any questions or if you have any comments, or just say hello is nice too, and tell me where you're from. That's always nice to get to know you. So where was I? Okay, so what I started with that, so I took top 2 highly inflammatory food that she talked about in the book. I'm talking about Amy Myers, The Autoimmune Solution. Okay, the camera is here. So the book talked about top 2 highly inflammatory food is gluten and dairy. Gluten it's a protein that binds carbohydrate that's usually found in wheat, barley, and rye. So I removed those, and dairy, especially cow dairies. But there's a lot more to that too, though. So, but I'm just giving you the nutshell of it. So I took those 2 things out, and the result was amazing. I was able to stop using steroids in 2 weeks, and my skin looked a lot better. Well, let me take it back. Initially, it looked it was for about 5 days. I was on steroids for 3 decades, so it looked very puffy. But after 2 weeks, I could tell that my skin was so much better, my energy was up, my brain, I could tell my cognition was so much better. I was so much clearer, and I was in a lot better mood because I was in so much less pain. My joint and muscle pains got better. So I was just stoked that I could help myself rather than just like, okay, I'm getting older, then I'm getting sicker. So I was really empowered by it. The problem was after 9 months of removing gluten and dairy, I still have back pain and joint and muscle pains. So I wanted to try the full taking out whole highly inflammatory foods, which is a lot that's mentioned in this book, including nightshade vegetables and grains. So I summed up my courage and I tried it, and it worked. It worked almost magically, so much that even though it was a very restrictive diet, I was in because I felt like a new person. I was a better partner to my husband. I had more energy. I could think clearly again. My belly fat just melted away without dieting. I mean, I was eating a lot of good food even back then. So I was stoked. But the problem was that in the course of doing it, for a couple of years, my food sensitivity and food allergies got a lot worse. The premise of founding of I read the book. Oh, Brett, you did. That's awesome. Good for you. Good for you. So that's a really excellent book. But here's the big missing. So here, think about anti-inflammatory diet. It's just a small piece of big pie. When you're missing the big link, this can be a real danger for you over time. But initially, the diet works so well. I've seen this over and over again that people make mistake. And so the problem was that when I took out the inflammatory foods, I felt great. But it was restrictive, and it only not restricted my diet, but restricted my social life because I loved food and I was all about beer tasting, wine tasting, cheese tasting. That was a big part of my life. And I had social life around that, and I lost all my friends basically. And I felt very, very lonely. But I was stoked that I could help myself. Because, all the doctors tell me, well, you're getting older. What do you expect at your age? You just get sicker and dumber and fatter, right? And like here I am, like, okay, I can do something about it. It's epigenetics. Like I'm above my genes. I can do something about it. But whenever I ate something that's inflammatory food again, there's a whole reintroduction phase that you reintroduce food that you took out. Over time, my food sensitivity got so bad, and I ate a cookie and I was in bed for 3 days and I was unable to move. And I just had so much pain in my stomach. My back felt like somebody was just grabbing and twisting it. And I just had nausea. I just felt horrible. And it took all my energy, and I just laid in bed for 2 days. So it might make me really, really scared about any food that had highly inflammatory components in it. And that was difficult. But overall, I was happy because I was stoked that I had the energy, my skin looked so much better, and my life was better because I had so much less pain. And I thought that was a small price I pay eliminating this highly inflammatory food because my body did not love it. But here's something really, really interesting happened. In 2018, out of nowhere, I got so sick, seemingly out of nowhere, that I couldn't get out of bed. It was a mysterious illness, and symptom was very like lupus. I had so low energy. I spent most of the time in bed or on the couch. This is when you didn't see me for a year and a half because I just couldn't work. I was too sick. And thanks for joining me. If you have questions or comments, just leave it like Brett did. It's really awesome to see you guys here and I know I'm talking to a person because it's really weird. I'm looking at this dot and I don't know if I'm going crazy, and actually there are people on the other side. So it's awesome when you guys leave comments. I love it. So I know I'm talking to a person because it really energizes me. And you guys are awesome. So that's cool. So 2018, I got so sick, and I did what I already had done back then. It worked. And I was going even hardcore on anti-inflammatory diet. I removed all the things that caused the inflammation for 4 months. That's how sick and desperate I was. 4 months, I didn't even know I could stop binge drinking over the weekends. And I took drinking out because I didn't even need it. I felt like I was drunk all the time. I just felt literally so dumb. My brain wasn't working. I was barely forming words. So I told my husband that, especially English, right? Because it's my second language. I told my husband that I'm not upset with you. I just cannot speak because my brain got so dumb. And so I did that impossible diet, hugely restrictive, not even drinking for months, for 4 months in 2018, and the needle didn't move at all. I didn't see the results at all. This is the first time I was being mindful. I stepped back and thinking, what am I missing here? This is not a diet then. Diet is hugely important, don't get me wrong. But there's a huge missing link there. The missing link is your immune system is not only protector, but also conformer. So anti-inflammatory diet in this book and many other books that I read, it's based on immune system being protector. So whatever that triggers your immune system sees it as an enemy or danger. Could be proteins such as glutens and dairy proteins, whatever the protein that comes into your body that your immune system sees as like, oh, this is going to hurt me. Then it shoots all these inflammatory chemicals to neutralize that enemy. That's depends on your genetic propensity. That can show very differently that if you're like me, it's a chronic skin problem that can be rash, hives, flakes, or a fungi problem. If you're like my mother, severe back pain that she was unable to stand up straight for a couple of hours when she woke up in the morning. It could manifest many different ways, depends on genetic propensity. So that's the correlation with when the immune system being your protector. But another side of that is immune system is conformer. So when you start to believe that, because you're getting the proof, right? You're getting input that, okay, taking out this inflammatory food really helped me. You're doing that and prolong the time. You're doing hypervigilance. Then what happens is that it puts your immune system on high alert at all times, which is bad news for you. Because think about it this way. Immune system, if you think about your immune system, in a way, it's your security guard, right? It's your best friend that protects you. Then that security guard never rests. So whatever it sees that it looks like remotely a threat for you, then it shoots out all these chemicals to protect you. Then that's a big problem. That's on high alert. You don't want that, but you're not thinking that way. What you're doing, what you're slowly acquiring is that it's all in the background, that you slowly teach your immune system to be on hyper alert. So you're not thinking that you're jumpy, but in the background, that's what's happening. So that was a huge missing component. The immune system is conformer. So it comes from, I learned this from my mentor, Dr. Mario Martinez, who's the frontier in psychoimmunology, which has been studied for about 40 plus years. And he's also a neuropsychologist. So whatever the brain and your immune system and gut, they always constantly talk. So think about it this way. When you're in fight or flight mode, you're thinking that, when you have an argument, I'm sure you run into this a lot if you're married or have a serious partner, or even with your parents, right? When you have an argument with one that you really love, your stomach just turns and your digestion, it just goes out of whack. You're tired. You don't know what's happening. But you're not consciously thinking it. It's all running in the background. Your immune system goes fight or flight mode because there's no real attack, but emotionally it's an attack for you. So your immune system responds to it. So when you're doing prolonged diet that's super restrictive, whatever diet you're on, whether it's intermittent fasting, vegan, anti-inflammatory diet, paleo, if you're doing it in prolonged time without working on this side of that, your immune system is also conformer. There are many techniques to calm your immune system down. This is what I found out, that it doesn't have to be restrictive. Anti-inflammatory diet doesn't have to be restrictive. You can eat that works for you. So it's not one diet doesn't fit all because you are unique. Your body is unique. You're not a machine. Not every diet is the same for one person. You cannot generalize your body. You're a unique being. This is what I found out over the course of 6 years and my big health derailing past 6 years. And that's why this called this Korean health formula, because it's a formula. It's not just diet. You gotta have, diet is a big part, but that's only a part. If you're missing this huge link, this inflammatory diet is this small part of the pie. If you're missing this huge rest of the link, this can really harm you over time. I see it over and over again. And this is how my food allergies got so bad. And this is I got so sick with mysterious lupus-like illness for a year and a half. And I am coming back. Otherwise, you wouldn't be seeing me here doing weekly live every day, right? And I'm full of energy and my skin looks good again. And I loved sharing with you guys because you guys are awesome. If you have any questions or comments, leave it here and I can answer it even after the live goes on. I'm here on weekly Thursday, every Thursday at 6 p.m. But also sign up to my newsletter because I'm preparing something awesome for your live event. If you're ready, I'm gonna go deep dive into this. It's not gonna cost you anything. I'm gonna give you a masterclass regarding this. It's really hard to condense, as much as I try, condense all this information that I learned with trial and error and experience in past 6 years. So join my newsletter and download top 3 Korean anti-inflammatory recipes that I put together for you guys, so you can start the power within you by eating something that lowers inflammatory food. Just by trying it, if you're on SAD diet, standard American diet, by eating just a few anti-inflammatory food, you notice the difference. Because I know I have, and I tried on my mother, it does the magic for you. So try that. So download top 3 Korean anti-inflammatory recipes. It's on the link. It's in the link below this video in the description box. And you can also find all that on hungrygopher.com, of course. And you can, when you sign up to my newsletter, when you download it, that way you can get posted from me for upcoming events. And I got this free masterclass coming for you. Mark your calendar. Saturday, September 11th. So that's when I'm going to greet you. It's going to be super fun. It's going to be you'll learn a lot. And I might give away some awesome stuff at the end of the masterclass. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's going to be free. I'm going to convince you to try to join one of my programs, but that's really it. No other things. I really believe that this information will help you, and I know you'll love it because you love to eat good food, right? And good food heals you. Plus, good company is even better. And I'm gonna give you that missing link. So, all right, check out hungrygopher.com for more case studies and my story and the anti-inflammatory recipes. And download top 3 Korean inflammatory recipes. And if you guys have any questions, If it doesn't come up to you right now, but after watch this video again, and if it resonates with you, just leave a comment. Then I'll take the question. If there's a lot of questions, repeat the question, and I'll answer the question for you. It's great to be here again, and thanks for joining me. And it's awesome to see you guys. And that's it. I'll see you next Thursday at 6 p.m. in Pacific Standard Time. That's it, folks. I'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.